We are not in awe of Manchester City. We don't talk about them. Manchester United's Ashley Young opens up on Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho and his dream of a World Cup place in Russia. Moments before Ashley Young sits down to discuss his impressive season at Manchester United, England manager Gareth Southgate walks through the lobby at their Carrington training ground to meet Jose Mourinho. Young must hope it is a positive omen for the World Cup this summer. 4 years ago, he had received the devastating news during a holiday in Dubai that he hadn't made the final 23-man squad for Brazil despite starting every game at the previous European Championship. "I got a phone call from the manager, Roy Hodgson, to explain," he says. Of course it was bitterly disappointing. I'd been to the Euros, but the World Cup is a pinnacle. Coincidentally, Leighton Baines was staying at the same place as me, and we'd be asking each other, have you had a call yet? In the end it was good news for him, not for me. There were no hard feelings, we still went out afterwards. For me, things like that give you the fight and hunger to go on and try to do even better. Let alone being a 2018 World Cup contender, Young started this season with question marks about his future at United under Jose Mourinho. Instead, he has started 20 out of 28 Premier League games ahead of Monday's trip to Crystal Palace and earned an international recall in November to win his 31st cap against Brazil, 1,526 days after his previous one. His famed versatility, "I've played every position, except goalkeeper and centre half," has seen him become Mourinho's left back of choice ahead of specialists Luke Shaw, Mattia Darmian and Daley Blind. And while some players might view a positional change as a downgrade, Young sees it as an asset to his career. Louis van Gaal was first to use him as a wing-back, right or left, and Mourinho has gone a step further. "I've never had an ego about it," he says. "Things can be dissected too much. It's football, go and play. There's 2 goals, there's the ball. Go and score. If I'm asked to play a certain position, I'll do it 100%. Not to fill in, to cement a place. I can play in 6 different positions, where managers can trust me. It must give them food for thought knowing I can do a job in different positions. Maybe that versatility could help with England. The World Cup is coming up quicker than people realize." "My last call up was brilliant. I would like to think I deserved it. The manager said he would pick players on form and I think I've been playing well this season." "There is another England squad in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully I can be in that, and then we have to wait and see. I've got to carry on what I have been doing, and hopefully get the recognition. It is a far cry from last year when there was strong interest from China amid fears he was not part of Mourinho's plans." "It's reported every year that I'm about to leave, but I've always wanted to be here," he says. "And for as long as I can, I'd like to finish my career at United. I've got that mentality to keep going and change people's minds. I know how to play the game. I've got a football brain and feel as fit and healthy as I did when I was younger. I'd be able to give the 23-year-old me a race." Current deal expires in the summer though United have the option to trigger a year's extension. Rarely does interviews, and his natural suspicion of the limelight has seen him accused of being overly serious. In reality, he is never far from the hijinks that is part of any dressing room. Whether it is singing Man United songs as part of his club initiation, or, last week, playfully throwing snowballs at photographers. Pissed. He likes cooking. I do a good steak with special sauce and seasoning, and travels to keep in touch with family. One of his 3 brothers, Lewis, plays for Crawley and his son is at the Arsenal Academy. Now 32, he has got the experience and maturity to help guide younger teammates like Jess Lingard, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford and Scott McTominay, particularly as he has had to overcome tough times with injuries. I'm glad you said mature, you probably meant old, he says with a laugh. But, yes, you feel more like a senior. When all the young boys come into the team, you want to try and help. I'm willing to talk to any of them, and to be fair to them, they want to ask questions, and be as good as they can. It's refreshing. A lot of youngsters in the game think they've made it before they've done anything. But at United, they are given that winning mentality and an ethos of always trying to improve. Our manager has a tough task trying to get everyone inside after training, because everyone wants to stay out and better themselves. Ordinarily, United's results this season would be regarded favourably. They have been second in the league most of the year, and are in the latter stages of the Champions League and FA Cup. Manchester City's outstanding form has altered perceptions somewhat, though Young is the wrong person to ask to get involved in a Pep love-in. We aren't in awe of Man City, he says firmly. They have had a good season, you can't get round that, but we talk about ourselves. I don't think you'd find a United player talking about City, as you wouldn't find a City player talking about United. We concentrate on what is happening here. Credit to them, they have done fantastically well this season. But we are fighting on all fronts. Even in the league, until the points are done, and they've won it, we've got a lot to play for. It is interesting that Mourinho's back 5 has regularly been made up of players at the club for several years: David De Gea, Antonio Valencia, Chris Smalling, Phil Jones and Young. Not the class of '92, but a bedrock of stability that has helped United lift 3 trophies in the last 2 seasons. The team spirit has always been unbelievable at the club, and not just the longer serving players, says Young. Alexis Sanchez has just come in. It hasn't taken him much time to settle, because everyone welcomes you with open arms. I think United is the biggest club in the world. I got a sense of it from my first pre-season tour to America. It was a long flight, I was tired, and ready to go to my hotel room when we arrived. Then I saw the amount of fans outside the hotel, and they didn't leave the whole time we were there. I'm a private person, and like to keep away from things when I'm not playing. But I understand as a United footballer, you'll be recognized nearly everywhere, and people want to have things signed or pictures taken. It's part of the territory and you have to embrace it. Young is buoyed by being able to keep up with the younger generation in physical workouts. My legs might take a bit longer to recover after games, but other than that, I feel as fit as ever. The manager, Mourinho, has high standards he wants to keep. He enjoys a joke, but when it's time to get down to serious work, you need to be serious. As players you don't have to be told. You will see people come back disappointed if they've lost a game in training. It's that Man United mentality. There is no better feeling than success at this club. Having played for 5 different England managers and 4 at United, Young is used to repeatedly proving himself to big figures. He puts his determination down to an early experience at Watford, when he was rejected as a Ritz at 16. I just sat in the chair and didn't speak to anyone for the whole day. It was heartbreaking, he said.